I could tell you this, and this is a hard truth that Nigerians have not been told. You see, most of the parts of the southeast are no longer Nigerian territory, because one of the signs of your territorial control is your flag. You can't put a Nigerian flag in most of the southeastern part of the country. Maybe it's only in Enugu that you can find a Nigerian flag flying. There are no more schools where you can teach anything about Nigeria. Even in this Abuja, we're going around the markets. We had a guy carrying a flag. They said, no, we don't want Nigerian flag around us. That shit tells you how deeply people are.
But let me ask you, Shawara.
I feel like Nigeria never ended the civil war against Biafrans.
Do you think that there's something that could be done consistently? And you know very much how Americans take the Black American history.
Yes.
And in some part of, in some states in America, they pay attention to their curriculum to study Black American history.
Yes.
And there's the Civil War. And there are those who say that healing comes only. I mean, but a lot of people still believe that the blacks or the colored person in America is an endangered species.
Yes.
But in South Africa, we saw what happened. In Rwanda, we saw what happened. How reconciliation and healing could happen. I'm not sure we've had a national conversation about the Nigerian Civil War of between 1966 and
1967 to 1970.
Yeah, 70.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think there is anything that could be done? It doesn't look like we have walked away from the ghost is still hot onto Nigeria.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You know, I would say, like, if I was sitting in Nassau Rock today as president, I'll go to the Southeast and apologize for the Civil War, no matter whose ox is scored. And then I'll start a process of dialogue and national healing to say, look, people will say somebody abandoned his property. There's nothing like abandoned property. But you forcefully take someone's property and never give them back. Somebody who was a billionaire or a millionaire, you fight them in a war, 4 million people died. You just woke up and say, no victor, no vanquish. But there was a victor, there was a vanquish, because the vanquish got 20 pounds. The victor got billions, walked away with the property of the person who the claim is abandoned. And then subsequently, they keep finding in the relationship with them that there's hatred, there's animosity, and there is a desire to always oppress and suppress them in the civil service. Jonathan told me one thing, and probably I'm not supposed to reveal, but I'll say it. He said when he made Hejurika the chief of army staff, so he came to him and said, "This is unbelievable.
An able man."
He said, "An able man." Said, nobody trusts him. It came to him. He said, all of them started coming and said,
things what people say about Kaduna and Seugu,
exactly,
and the 1976 coup, and how they thought that.
So, but we have not worked that part. I didn't fight during the Civil War, so I don't have any business sustaining the Civil War. I was born in 1971, but I knew I could smell the gunpowder all around us. And I think this is part of how we can start our national healing. Release Nnamdi Kanu, call for dialogue, get everybody to sit down, including those who Gowon is still around. You know, let all of them sit across the table and say, look, we want to confront one of our ugliest past, which is the Civil War.
I think,
and because we are confronting our past in the Niger Delta region. You are forgiving Kesarawiwa, you know, likely, you know, driven by the need to go and start re-exploitation of oil from Ogoni land. But you could see that those are work. You meet all the militants, you know, they used to be hiding, now they are billionaires. Tompolo just donated 10 billion naira to Delta State. He's probably richer than Delta. So if, for instance, you had continued fighting the insurgency in the Niger Delta region, probably they would have shut down the entire oil production in the country by now. Sure. You are looking at insurgents, Boko Haram, bandits. You are meeting with them. You even grant them the opportunity to come to your meetings with their RPGs and their magazines. You know, they come. You even send delegation to attend their children naming ceremonies. And then there's a guy whose only weapon, regardless of what they tell you, that you could provide in public, is a radio broadcast. That's all. Not a razor blade was found in his possession.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm throwing this challenge to the Nigerian National Orientation Agency. They are different. I'm a student of literature, and you can sit down and critique any work of literature that anybody does. They are different, and I have maybe like half a dozen of the record of the perspectives of the Nigerian Civil War from everybody, those who were in the military then, those who suffered the heat of those who were on the receiving side, and those who were on the other side of that civil war. I think that we should have a national account There are different accounts of the Biafran War, of the Civil War, and I think that we should come up. Let's have writers who will come and align the account. Let's have a Nigerian account of the Civil War that will now have FAQs to say these are the frequently asked questions and these are the answers to it. Because if those will say it's an Igbo war or is an anti-Igbo or this was this and that, don't you think that we need to come together first? Reconciliation, the kind of thing that we saw in South Africa. Let's have a national moment of reconciliation and healing, and have a unified account about the Nigerian Civil War, then have incorporated as part of civic studies in our education curriculum, such that students are compulsorily made to study it from primary to secondary and to the university, what has happened in our past and our history, don't you think?
But we need to restore history back to our curriculum. I mean, real history.
I think it's been done. Well, I'm not sure if it's been practically, it's been announced as a policy, but I'm not sure.
You have to see what the history books are first before you can say those are history books. Because don't forget, there was a time in this country that under the military, they banned Ken Saro-Wiwa books simply because they had a problem. But what I want to tell you, beyond what you've recommended, these are just glossaries to what needs to be done. There must be, and this is serious, that first you have to stop the abuse. You have to, by way of what you have recommended, which is national healing, stop the suspicion. And thirdly, you have to ensure that you demilitarize. Yes, there's nobody who feels safe in the Niger Delta region. I mean, in the southeastern part region. I could tell you this, and this is a hard truth that Nigerians have not been told. See, most of the parts of the southeast are no longer Nigerian territory, because one of the signs of your territorial control is your flag. You can't put a Nigerian flag on most of the southeastern part of the country. Maybe it's only in Enugu that you can find a Nigerian flag flying. There are no more schools where you can teach anything about Nigeria. Even in this Abuja, we're going around the markets. We had a guy carrying a flag. He said, no, we don't want Nigerian flag around us. That shit tells you how deeply people are.
But let me ask you, Shore, the case of Nnamdi Kanu is before a Nigerian court.
Yes.
And, when this has happened, it handicaps anyone from taking any political decision.
Nobody is handicapped by, let me tell you, and you know this, the politicians who repeat this garbage, they themselves do not allow the courts to determine their fate. I mentioned to you before that this current president was undergoing trial at the Code of Conduct Bureau. Have you ever studied how it ended? It ended because it's always seek political solutions. He knew that if he was convicted, he might not be the president that he is today. So he went to France to go and meet with Jonathan. A meeting organized, I think, was by Shaguri Shagu, or there's another guy who is close to Atiku, one of those Italians. And the result is there. I heard about it through the Akintola essay. He said, sure, because I used to carry out Tinubu, and he said, this case is dead. I said, how? So what they do is that all they need to do is the judge is not handicapped. All they need to do for political solution is for a prosecutor to come to court and file a
nolly prosecute.
Yes, it's to say, look,
the power of the state to withdraw.
We're submitting a motion today that we no longer want to continue this process.
That is what you think the Attorney General should do
immediately. He should have done that yesterday. Yesterday was their best opportunity.
What solution would that? What would that do?
It immediately de-escalates tension. It provides an opportunity for dialogue immediately.